Hello and welcome to the Retro Game Vault. Today we have a cool thing. We got the big box Lunar 2 for the PlayStation 1. This thing is decked out, huge, and honestly gorgeous. But we're going to show you what's inside here as we get this ready for sale. So obviously, the big collector's box is in pretty decent shape. It's hard to find these without worn corners because it's just the method of the game. But let's take a look what's inside here. Let's get the obvious thing out of the way first. We've got the game itself, and this one is 3 game discs and 1 making of disc. So we gotta make sure we get all these cleaned. First disc isn't horrible, should be just a light cycle. Second disc is about the same way, nothing crazy. Moving on to the third disc. This one's actually pretty good. All that needs is a cleaning, not even a buffing. And the fourth making of disc, the same thing. We're going to get all these running through my machine in the back, but while we're doing that, we're going to get the case cleaned up. It's in pretty darn good shape, but you always want to make sure there's no dust on the inside of cases. That happens more than you think. Now that everything's done, let's go ahead and test each one of the discs. I think in this situation I actually worked back forward, so here's the making of disc. Looking fine. Then we're going to move on to the third disc, which is also going to boot up just fine now that it's cleaned up. Once again, I have to state that none of these discs were particularly bad. Mostly all they just needed was a little bit of cleaning, but super easy. It's worth it for me to clean them even if they're almost perfect, because now they're not almost perfect, they are perfect. And as you can see, all the discs are booting just fine. That way I can make sure that we're not going to run into any snags down the lane. But sure enough, that's the fourth one down. We can move on back over to the collector's box so you can see the rest of the contents. Let's put things back in order. There's disc 3 in. Here's the making of disc 4 in. Let's move on to disc 1 and 2. Got disc 2 in there. And then disc 1 in there. You know, I feel like I need to talk more about this game because despite the reputation it's garnered, I still think it's underrated. Speaking of underrated, this is friggin' awesome. This is a little guide slash art book for it, and it's fully hardcover bound, and everything's in fantastic shape. I love things like that. I know it's trying to be standard, but it's cool. Here is where the CD would go if I had the CDs. That is the one thing missing from this. So luckily it's the cheapest thing to grab, but regrettably I do not have it at this moment, so it will discount it. Here is the rest of the contents. You have these cool little character pop-outs, and you have a ton of them. And I'm sure some of these haven't even been used, but I just think they're super cool. Let's go ahead and get this undone, and then we can look at the big thing, which, well, I've had multiple copies of this, but this is the first one I've seen with the locket. I say locket, it's more of a necklace, you know what I mean. And it is in pretty good shape. It's not perfect, of course. You can tell that it's been taken out of the bag before, but the fact that it's in this good a shape is ridiculous. Let's seal that up. You can also see it's got an in-game map, which is kind of cool. And that pretty much just rounds off a cool edition altogether. So in total, you have the necklace, the map, the little pop-out things, normally the soundtrack, the art book slash guide, and of course the game with the included making of DVD, which is just so cool. So now that that's all done, we can get it boxed up, and it's friggin' awesome. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day out there.